I sat on the floor. Convenient to grab, and there's no wear on them. Need anything else, sir?
I'm all set. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
We'll get that first half hour over.
Yeah, please. That's why I'm doing this, just to have it there for a reel. But I appreciate you getting that to me.
You don't watch any NBA games before Sunday football, or just put the pregame on?
The pregame's fine.
Okay.
Even though we have a NBA Cup coming,
It's a big deal.
so that's a topic for me because
You
I.
come in here next Monday, we're in the middle of a 16-hour day.
Wow.
Monday.
I'm off next Monday. We got Raiders.
Oh, you are?
Raiders playing Monday night.
That's together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They didn't get flexed. Remember, we were waiting on that.
Yeah, so then you'll be off. This will be the last show for a while then, right? Because then the following week's Christmas week.
Yeah, I
Are
don't.
you coming in that week?
I don't know. They asked me to. I don't know. I'd rather. That's a definite day to do it from home, for you not to have to come in here. That's important to me. And I'd much rather do that at home if it's Christmas.
At the point, like if they want it, we're doing it.
Okay, sounds good.
I don't dictate that.
Yep.
If they want to do shows, we do.
Good. Can everybody hear me good here? Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the mic. Or if I should get it closer. Everyone hear me good here? 1, 2, 3. All right. Yes, sir. All right, guys. What do you want to do here with Soto? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Mm. Okay. Let's go with the game-winning field goal for the Chiefs. And Mahomes, I'm winning the West. I'll take that. Stafford to Puka. And Sean McDermott burning that timeout on the sneak. And then the Justin Jefferson touchdown. Okay. Yep. Hey man, this is good. Yeah, doing a little early monologue. What's that? Yep.
Juan Soto, huh? Oh, sorry, sore subject. That's right. He'll be hurt every year for the next 10 years.
All right, this is kind of cool. I'm over at the Win.
The 6-time Super Bowl champ really want to coach in college after an entire career in the NFL. He said on Let's Go.
Well, again, I have an open mind and have I think the college game is closer to the game.
Out of the gate, JT, as we begin tonight, Mad Dog Sports Radio, live from Wynn, Vegas, this gorgeous resort property. As we open up the show, as we're counting down to the holidays, we got Monday Night Football coming up here in a little bit. The reaction to the Juan Soto trade to the free agent signing to the Mets, and all the other breaking news that we have with the college football playoff as we begin. It is not rare, but I tell you, there's certain nights it's better to be on the radio. If you ask me the nights I'd want to be on, it's Sunday, it's Monday, it's coming off NFL action, it's coming off college football. We get a chance to do this on this powerful platform. If you got anything to say, you know what you want to talk about by this time of night. 888-623-3646 is the number. 888-MAD-DOG-6. I was on last night, less than 24 hours ago, when the Juan Soto news broke. I was really, 20 minutes after it broke, I went on the radio and we did 3 hours of it last night on Mad Dog. Talked about it today on my show in Vegas, and I'm going to do it again in this monologue. And nothing's really changed with me. Normally, when something bad happens to me as a fan, I am cranky Yankee. I am bitter guy for a long time. And I take it out on people verbally. I'm upset about it. I freak out about it. I take it personally. And in about the last 24 hours, nothing's changed, because I truly believe if Soto decided to stay with the Yankees and sign this contract, go to the Mets, go to the Rangers, go to the Cubs, go to the Dodgers, it would still be one of the worst contracts I've ever seen, if not the worst contract of my entire life. From the contracts of Mike Trout for $400+ million who got hurt, to the Albert Pujols 10-year deal, to the Bobby Bonilla deal back in the day, which is kind of different but similar for the same franchise. No matter what it is, I on the radio on all my platforms for years have tried to tear down the long-term contract, tear down the 10, 12, 15-year deal, because I think it's reckless. I think it's out of control. I don't think it makes sense. And I think it's quite frankly pathetic. So if you would have went to the Yankees, I would have smoked a cigar last night, had myself a beverage, and said, you know something? The Yankees are going to win multiple World Series because they got Judge and Soto. I would have been very confident with that. Just like the Dodgers are very confident that they have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani. Take Freeman out of it, and he was the World Series MVP. Take him out of the conversation. Just with Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani, it's identical now to what the Yankees kind of had with Judge and Soto. And let me be the 30th guy to say this, and I'll say it again. Aaron Judge is better than Soto. Okay? Soto's younger, so they say, wink, wink. Aaron Judge is a better player. He's better in the field. He's better at bat. He's better with the power. You know, Soto on base, if you want to break it down, Soto's at bats are better, on base, walking and all that. But I'll take Judge every day of the week over Soto. Now, Soto has a ring. Judge hasn't. Judge didn't play great in the postseason. He's got a long career to do it. How dare anybody mock Judge for having a bad postseason? And if you look at the Yankees are built every offseason to get the best player available, period. They were in the market for Soto. Did you see the deal they gave Soto? It was the same amount of money for one more year. The Yankee deal wasn't the reason why Soto went to the Mets. Soto went to the Mets because Steve Cohen, the owner, is a mercenary. He has unlimited money, and he wants to spend it. Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, has a lot of money. He doesn't have the money that Steve Cohen has, and he wants to save some of his money, and he wants to invest some of his money, and he wants to run the Yankees, but he wants to do some other things. So the Steinbrenner family, dating back to George Steinbrenner, the boss, would put pretty much all their profits and their revenues back into the Yankees. So when people were saying the Yankees were trying to buy championships in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you had an owner who was in the number one media market, which means he made more money with local revenue, merchandising, local television, doing the Yes deal, everything they did, exactly like Jerry Jones. Just like Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys. The only difference is Jerry Jones had a cap in the NFL and George Steinbrenner did not. Then we saw the Ricketts family take over the Cubs and John Henry go to the Red Sox and the Guggenheim company take over the Dodgers, and there's 4 or 5 or 6 teams that have the revenue to go out and spend whatever they want. Nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with that. But when it comes down to Soto, the Yankees gave Soto everything they needed to give him to keep him in the Bronx. And he decided to listen to his agent because his agent doesn't care where his players play. And that's a fact. Scott Boras would like you to win a championship. It's good for business. But he wants you to go to where he can say, not the player, where Scott Boras can say, I set the market. And I tip my cap to Scott Boras. That's what he does. And he does it better than any agent who's ever lived in any sport. And that says a lot because the NFL is bigger than Major League Baseball. And the NFL's got some really good agents over the years. Tom Condon, Yee, go down the list of all the guys who've been out there, but none are on the level of Scott Boras. So Boras was going to put his client to wherever he could break a record, and he broke the record of Ohtani. He doubled the number of Judge. I am an expert on the Yankees. My grandfather and my father were diehard Yankee fans. My dad grew up in the bleachers in Yankee Stadium, and my dad had a tryout for the Yankees. The day I was born, not the second day I was born, the day I was born, my dad put a Yankee cap on me in the hospital and took a picture. Okay, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. I felt entitled to win championships. I felt good about winning. It's no debate the Yankees are the greatest franchise in North American sports history, and you sound like a fool if you argue that point. You might hate the Yankees. Good. I hate the Chiefs. The Chiefs are trying to become the greatest NFL franchise of all time. I didn't want that to happen. I work with Raider Nation out west. I don't want to see the Chiefs win, but I know when I see a winner. And for the first time in my lifetime, the Mets have done something that I never thought they could do. They could outplay the Yankees financially. They've had high-priced players over the decades. They've spent money when they've had to, but nowhere near of the level of the Bronx Bombers and the New York Yankees. Now they shattered any deal that the Yankees have ever done. I mean, we're talking about doubling Judge's contract. Now, Judge is going to get another contract. So when you see the Judge $300+ million deal, he's going to get another $300 million. So when you add that up for Judge over that amount of time, it'll probably be less than Soto, but it'll be in the ballpark. And Ohtani got that $700 million contract with the fuzzy math where the gambling thing went away, poof, magically with Ipe and all the gambling and all the money, poof, that went away magically and went away. No one talks about that anymore. And Ohtani was able to take all of his money deferred. The day Ohtani signed that deal, I said, that's a dirty, filthy deal. This deferred money, not going to pay him for down the road until he's an old man or after he's out of baseball. But it was under the rules. It was under the rules of Major League Baseball. And this contract is part of the rules. This contract is so bleeping ridiculous that he can opt out after 5 years, and the Mets can jump in before he opts out and says, no. Oh, no, we want to give you more money. We want to take you from $51 million to $54 million and give you more money in the contract here. This is so ridiculous. And we found out today that he gets a $500,000 suite for his family thrown into the deal. Fuzzy math and taxes. I don't know. You know, people talk about the IRS and doing audits. You might want to keep an eye on this one if you're the IRS, because they've already chased down Cohen from the SEC back in the day. Okay, as a stockbroker, I'm a stockbroker from back in the day. Look in the history of Steve Cohen with that, and his incredible wealth has given him the ability to be a viper, to be a stone-cold assassin, and he finally got his day. So you want to give Cohen credit, give him all the credit in the world. But all he did was kind of give money to a rich divorcee and say, go to Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive and get a new Bentley and get new jewelry and buy all the handbags you want and just spend unlimited money until it makes you feel good. So I tip my Yankee cap to the Mets. I give the Mets credit where credit is due. I'm upset about losing Soto. I'm not angry and upset, even though it sounds that way. I'm just almost shocked that Soto would want to leave the Yankees and go play for the Mets. Here's Christopher Mad Dog Russo, the channel named after him, what Doggy thought of the deal.
The Yankees over $350 million. The Yankees doubled what Judge is getting, and then some. The Yankees offered him $765 too, but the extra year in the contract. The guarantee may have not been as much. There may have not been an opt-out increase as he's going to get with the Mets. He gets an extra $4 or $5 million a year once the opt-out hits in year 6. But why would the Yankees? Why would Soto leave the Yankees? I don't. Pinstripes, DiMaggio, Mano, Ruth, and Garrick, the Bleacher Creatures, the Great Porch and Right, and most importantly, for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, that's Doggy on his show here, exclusively on Sirius XM. It's a different deal, but I remember when Robinson Cano, I think, left the Yankees for $180 million for $225 for the Mariners. And my dad, who's that great Yankee fan who's 86 years old, I remember what he said to me that day. He goes, we had a monument in Monument Park for Robinson Cano. He could have retired the greatest Yankee second baseman of all time. And his dad and him wanted to take the money, and he went to Seattle, and he became irrelevant. You never heard from him again. Done. So for Soto, he's not going to be irrelevant. He's playing in New York. The Mets aren't irrelevant. It's a good franchise. They got good players. Look how far they went last year. But he gave up the opportunity to be a Yankee legend. And let me remind everybody, this is not a debate topic with Stephen A. and Doggy on in the morning. No debate. The Mets in your lifetime, in your kids' lifetime, and their kids who haven't been born yet will never be the Yankees. Never catch the Yankees in 27. Never be as relevant in Americana and American history, not sports history, American history. The Mets will never be the Yankees. And Soto doesn't care. He's not from here. He came here. He's a great baseball player. He's taking the money. Go take the money. Does it matter when Tom Cruise gets an extra 7 or 8 million for Mission Impossible? You still go to the movie. It's an incredible movie. Soto's not playing with Judge. He's going to play in Flushing. It's not the Bronx. It's not the Yankee legacy. And now he's going to have to go make his own legacy. Here's how these deals normally work out. Here's what happens. It's really one of two things. Either it's a disaster. The player gets in, works out reasonably well. Works out reasonably well where Soto will have to win multiple World Series to pay off this thing. I think one's great. A lot of times you say you trade for a player. As long as we win one, we're good. No. Not with this one. Because the Dodgers won year one with Ohtani. The Dodgers gave him $700 million and boom, they cashed that check. They cashed it. They deferred his money. They didn't have to really pay him anything. And then they already got a World Series. I would think Ohtani's probably going to win another World Series with the Dodgers. Now, for my Yankees, here's what I'm paranoid about. And I don't get paranoid in life, but I do in sports. What would happen to me is I thought Judge would have multiple World Series. Could have had one last year. Could have had one before. The Astros cheated with the garbage cans on us. They took a World Series already away from the Judge. All rise for the Judge. They already took one from us. The Astros did. Lost fair and square to the Dodgers. Now you can actually say, what if Judge doesn't win in the next 2 or 3 years with the Yankees? Because with Juan Soto staying with the Yankees, it was pretty much a lock. Soto and Judge would have won at least one, maybe two, maybe three. So that ship has sailed in the short term. What I think the Yankees should do is what I'm not doing now. The Yankees should take a deep breath and build their empire through pitching. That's what they have to do. And I'm not saying you have to do it now, in this offseason. The Yankees are going to compete. They got a good lineup and a good team. They got good young players coming up. But next off season, they got to dive in and go nuts. And they got to find a way, because we know that Hal Steinbrenner was ready to spend $700 million plus over 16 years. So he'll do it again. They'll just go get the next guy available. Who is that guy? When will he be available? 888-623-3646 is the number. Here's what Jeff Passan, ESPN insider, had to say on this deal. I think that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to be the person that hopes the deal doesn't work, but that's what we all have in common. We all root against teams. I root against the Red Sox. I don't root against the Mets because the Mets were never relevant in my life other than 86 with the great Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez, Kevin Mitchell. Go down the list of the Mets, and they had a really good team. But, I didn't grow up saying I hate the Mets. I grew up in Long Island, New York. I lived closer to Shea Stadium at the time, now Citi Field, than I did to the Bronx. Well, my dad made the better choice when I was born and made me a Yankee fan, and it's been great most of my life. Now it's a struggle. They haven't won since 2009. They had Soto in the organization. And my last opinion on this before we get to your calls is when you come to the Yankees and the Yankees open up the kingdom to you and they give you the key to the kingdom, you stay. Money is no object. The Yankees will pay you a king's ransom to stay. Normally, people don't leave the Yankees because of a competitive imbalance or a financial imbalance. They come to the Yankees to have an advantage in winning, and they come to make more money. So this is kind of rare, especially in that region between Flushing and the Bronx. I tip my cap to the Mets. You have won this battle. You are more relevant than the Yankees tonight on this broadcast for me. You have done something that no Met team and ownership group ever did. You said to the Yankees, we have more money than you. We have more money to be relevant, and we're going to beat you from here on out. I welcome the competition. 888-623-3646. Do you want to hear the doink game-winning field goal of the Chiefs? Give me a break with this team. They get the Swifties. They got blocked field goals. They got guys stepping out of bounds from half a toenail, and they're winning all these games. This team should have 4 losses by now. Every game comes down to the wire, and the next thing you know, Kansas City wins in walk-off fashion on a miracle. Here it is again. That's 9 consecutive AFC championships on Chiefs radio. I've been in the AFC West for 27 years. It's a long time, going on 30 years. Chiefs were never really good. They weren't. They weren't good in your lifetime. They weren't good for 50 years. Now they're trying to be the greatest NFL team of all time. They could surpass the dynasties of Brady because Brady never won 3 in a row, never had a three-peat. It's incredible what's happening. And Buffalo, by losing to the Rams, lost another game to Kansas City. I thought Buffalo needed the game in Orchard Park, New York, instead of playing at Arrowhead, but that might not happen now. 888 Mad Dog 6 as we open up the show and we're ready to go. I'm good to do Soto as long as you want. We got a couple of guests. I'll tell you about that coming up here in a little bit. Jay in New Jersey on the Soto deal to the Mets. Go ahead, Jay. Good, thanks. Yeah, appreciate the call. I think that's the only thing to do here now for the Yankees is if the Yankees were willing to spend this money and the Yankees were willing to spend this money. I can't believe that the Yankees went 16 years instead of 15. What are we going to do, start doing 20-year deals? It's incredible. I wouldn't have liked it. If the Yankees ended up doing the deal, I would have been the same guy on the radio tonight. I would have told you stupidest deal ever. It's a nightmare deal. Do you know how much I hate the Giancarlo Stanton deal? Stanton's been a bum with the Yankees until this past postseason. Bum. He strikes out 1 of every 3 at-bats. He can't run. He doesn't field his position. He's a really difficult player to watch. So what? He had a good postseason. He didn't get a ring. And the Yankees couldn't get rid of that contract, and it was in the $300 millions, not $700 millions. I don't like those contracts. I'll always shoot those contracts down, no matter who the player is. Anything over $8 to 8 to 9 years, 7 to 8 years, I don't have much of an interest in. Jerry is in Charlotte as Juan Soto is a massive global topic. Hello, Jerry. You too, buddy. Well, Reggie's a good friend, and I see him at every Raider home game. We'll get Reggie on. Matter of fact, I should text him tonight. But we'll get Reggie on. We had him on the night that Pete Rose passed away, so we're overdue for Reggie. Thanks for the call. He is the straw that stirs the drink. I grew up with Thurman Munson and Reggie Jackson on the same team. I grew up watching Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, and Tony Perez on the same team. And the good news for the Dodgers is they have Freddie Freeman, and they have Betts, and they have Ohtani at the same time. And they won a World Series. Normally, you win a World Series when you have the best players. The Astros went on a run. They had a hell of a lineup, and they won. It's very fluky when you're in baseball and you come through the second wild card and you're able to win a World Series. It doesn't happen often. I'll get to that, and coming up next, my opinion on the college football playoff. I like the way it went down. I flew up to Boise to watch Boise State play live on Friday night. I'll tell you about that road trip and the seeding going forward. JT live from Wynn, Vegas on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Who's on updates again? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to go a few minutes here more. I want to give you a college football take, but I'm going short tonight. So I just wanted to try this out, see if we can get something out of it. And, yeah, we'll go from there. But, man, how about this studio? This is the studio here. It's pretty remarkable. I'll show you a little bit of it. It's outside there at Wynn. Yeah, there's not a better studio in America. No, all due respect to ESPN, Fox. There's nothing like this out there, man. This is pretty radical. How's everyone doing in here? Is this a better time slot than noon? You know, hit the like button. Appreciate that. Basically want to do this to expose some people at night where we used to own the nights and continue to have a good force of nighttime listeners. So we'll see what happens here. Welcome back, everybody. JT from Win Vegas. Everyone should want to comment on Juan Soto, and I got a couple of more topics that are born out of this, especially for the small market teams that are out there. If you're a small market team, it's devastating to you when this happens. You can still survive. You can compete. Remember, a small market team needs a billionaire, multi-billionaire owner. That's all. Don't tell me about your small market revenue and your smaller markets. I lived in San Diego for 8 years. San Diego's got La Jolla, Del Mar, the biotech capital of the world. There's a lot going on there. The beach, it's everything. Okay, Tampa is in Florida. State tax breaks for everybody there. All you need is rich owners. If Steve Cohen owned the Tampa Bay Rays, he'd be doing this in Tampa. If Steve Cohen owned the Kansas City Royals, he could do this in Kansas City. So if you say, well, we're a small market, we don't have the revenue of New York or LA, I get it. It's true. Milwaukee is not LA, and Milwaukee is not New York, but Seattle's the gateway to the Pacific Rim. They got all that tech money, all those billions upon billions. They could do this. If someone owned the team who's as rich as Steve Cohen, you can get Soto. So don't tell me about your small market. Get rid of your owner in a small market if he acts like a small market guy, like Oakland with Fisher, who's the worst owner in sports. It's all about the owner, and this owner with the Mets is really passionate. Quickly on the college football playoffs, I was up in Boise. Quick fun story, I'll tell you that later. Flew up and down for the game. UNLV versus Boise. Boise not only won the game, but they're the 3 seed overall and have a bye week and get to play in the quarterfinals. How does that happen? Right? Look at the teams that are playing at home. Arizona State. My son's a senior at ASU. They were picked dead last in the Big 12, and they won the Big 12. Great job for all the media members in the Big 12 who had to vote for that. You might want to turn in your credential if you didn't have ASU. If you had an ASU dead last, you should not get a credential, either for the Big 12 championship game that they won or going forward there. Oregon has got to play the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State. That's brutal. Oregon's the best team. They're the number 1 team, and they have the toughest road. The toughest road is Oregon. Man, if you're an Oregon fan, you got to be looking around here saying, what's going on? Who hates us in the committee here? Clemson got in because they won. SMU stayed in because they lost on a walk-off 50-plus yard kick. If SMU were down 17 in that game, would have lost by 24, they wouldn't have got in. It would have been easy to take SMU out if they lost the conference championship game and got blown out. So that's a very important lesson we just learned there, everybody. If you're going to play in your conference championship game, don't get blown out. Don't get blown out. Keep it close, and maybe they won't touch you. Georgia deserves to be in. How about if Texas wins the national championship? You're going to have a little asterisk? You should. They couldn't beat Georgia. They lost to Georgia twice. That's not something that happened to Lou Holtz and Joe Paterno and Jimmy Johnson and Tom Osborne. You think Tom Osborne in Nebraska, when he built his dynasty, lost to a team twice in the same year and won a natty? Of course not. So this is flawed. And then Ohio State can't beat Michigan. They could win the national championship, and that's what's going to be. No team's more motivated than Ohio State. They just lost to Michigan. We're embarrassed. Michigan planted the flag on their field. They had to take out pepper spray to break it up. There is no team close to as motivated as Ohio State. Their coach might get fired if he doesn't win the national championship. And Notre Dame and Indiana, the whole state of Indiana is going to shut down for that game. And Penn State can't beat anybody good who's ranked higher than them, but they should be able to beat SMU. And then Penn State would have to beat Boise State. Oh, my God. Penn State's got an opportunity to reset and get this thing rolling. 888-623-3646. And as I told you, the SEC propaganda machine would come flying in. The SEC propaganda machine would come flying in and tell everybody that Alabama or Ole Miss or somebody else deserved to be there. And they didn't deserve to be there because Alabama lost games. And Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Losing to Vanderbilt, everybody, is the reason why they got knocked out. How does that feel? That's got to hurt. So that's where we're at here. We're talking college football. I think they got it right. I really do. I do think they got it right. I don't think there's a need for me to stir the pot and say Alabama got screwed. No, they got it right. SMU got in because of the money that they pumped into their football program. Their alumni have deep pockets. They got a lot of billionaires there. They bought a big team. I mean, literally, I don't think there's one person who could start who plays on SMU for Alabama, not one. And they're in and Alabama's not, because they played better than Alabama all year long, and they showed up and they made it big in the championship game. And give Dabo credit. There were 100 reasons to keep Clemson out of this thing, 100 reasons to keep Clemson out except one. They win their conference championship game, and they're in. 888 Mad Dog 6, I see all your calls. I'll get to them next. Everybody is freaking out about Juan Soto. Not the Met fans, but everybody else. We'll get to that coming up after the great Rob Brender as your Mad Dog Sports Bike.
Sports Bike. All right, JT, speaking of that, baseball winter reports ongoing in Dallas, Texas right now. Big news floating around, as JT just mentioned, is the signing of Juan Soto to the New York Mets, which occurred on Sunday, 15.
Scataboo. Scataboo. Boo. Scataboo.
Was a guest on Sirius XM Network Radio live and down in Dallas, Texas. And he talked about the Soto sign. There's a lot of rules out there. It's hard to comment on it, but how would I feel about it? Right? You know, just go out to always the line that's got some good play. Yeah, it's
JT at Win Vegas. See a lot of people walking around here with cowboy hats. Follow me on X, or Twitter as I call it, at JT the Brick. I will debut my new rodeo outfit. I wore a rodeo outfit, not a costume. It's not a costume. I wore it last year. It almost broke the internet. Charles Woodson, the Hall of Famer, is sponsoring it. He wants me to debut it tomorrow. I'm going to the rodeo tomorrow. I'll have new rodeo drip gear on. So that's what I'm doing. So the rodeo is big here. I went last year with an open mind, just like I went to Boise to the Blue Turf with an open mind. I went to F1 with an open mind. I go to sporting events. You know, a lot of your other radio hosts don't go to any sporting events. They don't go to anything. I go to this. I go to the rodeo and F1 over 2 weeks here. So I'll have my rodeo gear on tomorrow. You'll find it exclusively. Also, we had a nice stream going on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. If you want to get through, and we'll talk about that, you can see the show, see what we're doing here. But a lot of people want to talk about Juan Soto and how this deal came together. Matt, New Jersey, you're up next on the Mets and this blockbuster deal. Go ahead, Matt. Good, man. Mm. So you were okay? Then hold on, Matt. Then you're okay going to 485? You're okay going to 800? When's this insanity? When's this arm race going to stop? Why do you want to go to the, hold on, Matt, hold on. Why do you want to go to the insanity of 800 million in 16 years? Why can't we stop at 10 years and go, we'll do 10 years at say 600 million, whatever the Mets going to be to make it 55 million. Why the hell do we got to compete with the Mets and go to 16 years or 15 years? At one point, we got to be the Yankees and go kick rocks. We offered you 16 years or we're offering you 800 million. You don't like it? Go somewhere else. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. I appreciate it. I'm not happy about it either. But the one thing that I don't like what you're saying is basically what you said to me on Mad Dog Sports Radio is whatever it takes. I don't agree with whatever it takes. If I want to buy a house for $1 million and they go $1.8 million and I go, no, I'll come down to $1.1 million and they go, no, $1.8 million, I'm walking. No one has to hold. No one holds the Steinbrenner family hostage. You just called in and said that the Yankees had to do whatever Boris wanted them to do. That's basically what you said. I say the hell with that. We're going to give you a great offer. We're going to blow you away. The Yankees did. I'm sure other teams did too. And Steve Cohen, they're going up with a guy who just said, whatever their number is, get back to me. Call me back last. And by the way, congratulations to me, who told you on Twitter that he was having dinner. I mean, I almost broke the internet on that one. I tweeted out that he was having dinner at Del Frisco's with the Mets the other night, and people were yelling at me, threatening me. How dare you say that? How dare I? Got a guy who's working in the restaurant. I have a guy in the restaurant on security detail, and you're telling me I'm lying about Soto having dinner? I had that before anybody. I had Gronkowski going to the Tampa Bay Bucks before anybody because I had a guy in the building who saw him there. I'm not here to break news. I don't break news about death and this and that. But basically what I know and what I heard the whole time, I was right on. One of the last dinners he had was in Midtown Manhattan with the Mets. And the Mets were either going to give him the final offer or the Mets were smoothing him up in his favorite restaurant. I'm not saying because of the steak he had and how it was cooked. They did the deal. But a very important point we just made there. Soto doesn't have the right to ask the Yankees for whatever he wants. The Judge could do that. Judge could say $300 million. No way. Well, you know why the Yankees stopped at $330 million? Is because the San Francisco Giants were the only other bidders up north in San Francisco, and they didn't want to go to $400 million. Let me get you the number on Judge. Here it is, $360 million. So why didn't the San Francisco Giants just say $370? And then the Yankees would have said $380. And San Francisco would have said, oh, no, we're going to do $400. And what, the Yankees are supposed to go $410? At some point, you stop and say, that's enough. This is ridiculous. We're not going to do this. I mean, the Lakers are playing LeBron James, the max, and the guy can't shoot a three. How come no one can go to LeBron James and go, excuse me, LeBron, you're at the back end of your career. You're 7 years past your prime. We don't have to reward you. It's the same thing I'm watching with Dak Prescott tonight, who's sitting in the stands. Why is Dak Prescott getting $60 million? Why didn't Jerry say, no, we're going to stop at 52. Mahomes is at 50, 52. We're going to stop at that number. You should say thank you. No, they went to 60. You don't have to agree to anything. Billionaires don't have to agree with anything. That's one of the reasons they become billionaires. They don't get walked over and they don't get pushed around. 888 Mad Dog 6, the great Richie Rich. Oh, this will be good in Connecticut. How do you say it, Richie? Thanks, Richie. You know, I can't guarantee that. I agree with most everything you said because you're a diehard Yankee fan, man. You know as much of the Yankees as anybody I know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think the other big story that I wanted to mention was the Yankees had an opportunity to sign Bryce Harper. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was filling in for Dog. Doggy was on vacation, and he called in. Dog called in because the Harper deal went down, and I won't speak for Dog, but everybody else felt like this was a Mickey Mantle type deal. It was that rare of a deal. The Yankees could have got Bryce Harper. Now, we found out that Bryce Harper technically didn't want to be a Yankee. Bryce Harper's contract was for $330 million. $330. We're looking at Soto at $765. What's changed since then? We haven't gone from black and white television and movies to color. I mean, what has changed since Harper signed to Juan Soto? What's the difference between Soto and Harper? Not much. And I would say that Harper's probably one of the greatest teammates in baseball. The guy's a lunatic who wants to win. A lunatic who wants to win All-Star. Well, I'll say Soto's a little bit better. Double the price? Come on. The contract's out of control, but he was able to secure the contract, secure the bag, as the kids like to say. And if you can do that, if you can get the money in your prime, you go get it. Steve in Connecticut on the future of the Yankees without Soto. Hello, Steve. Good, man. What's happening? Yeah, and I'll go as far as to say that too. Thanks, Steve, for the call. I go as far as say, look, I never want the Yankees to take a year off. Life's too short. Judge is in his prime. The Yankees don't have to go all in this offseason. They could go bigger next year. If the free agent market starts to dry up and the Yankees are like, no, next year we're going to put $500 million in. I'm good with that. Have we all forgotten the Yankees have everything already? They have all the money. They have great players. They have an all-star team already. They don't have to have the absolute best lineup. They can win with a top 3 team. So I think the Yankees got to make sure that if they find a certain player or two to fit in now, go do it. Go do it. But other teams got to fill their rosters too. What do you think these other teams are going to do? 30 other teams that are looking around to upgrade their roster too. The Yankees don't have to buy every player now that they didn't get Soto. Over the next year and a half, they can really tighten up that lineup. But they got to get pitching. Pitching's the only way the Yankees are going to beat the Dodgers or the Red Sox or the Mets or anybody else. The Yankees' pitching is inferior. They need better pitching if they're going to win the World Championship. 888 Mad Dog 6. We'll tell you about the moving line before this game. Joe Burrow's having an MVP year on a team that's not going to make the playoffs. Should that matter? Putting up numbers, and Burrow and Lamar Jackson are toe-to-toe in their stats. I'll get to that. And more on why Soto chose the Mets instead of the Yankees. This is Mad Dog. Way to go. Good stuff. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to jump out of the stream. Appreciate everybody here. I thought it was a lot of fun that we did this. For those who did participate, remember, it's a grind. Got to do this every day. Spread the word, will you?